you ever noticed how every corner of the planet, whether it's a steaming jungle, a wind-burned desert, or the strip mall town you drive through on your way to grandma's, has at least one shadowy creature that locals swear is absolutely, totally real? But one of these creatures, it may have been caught on tape in 2021, and no one's been able to explain it since. Today, we're taking the grand tour of 5 such legends, spanning 3 continents, 2 different climate extremes, and about a dozen scientific impossibilities. Strap in, dim the lights, and keep one finger hovering over the pause button. By the end, you may find yourself Googling airline tickets to remote places just to check. Deep inside the Congo basin, where sunlight has to elbow its way through 200 feet of canopy before it touches the swamp, trackers from the Baka people share hushed stories of Mokele-mbembe. The name loosely translates to "he who blocks the river," which is a polite way of saying so big that the water reroutes around him. Eyewitness sketches describe the Mokele-mbembe as having an elephant-sized body, pillar legs, tail thick as a crocodile's, and a neck that arcs above the lilies like a periscope. Westerniers first picked up the rumor in 1909 when German explorer Karl Hagenbeck wrote that savages spoke of a half-elephant, half-dragon lurking in remote lakes. The idea simmered for decades and then hit a peak in the early 1980s when a wave of dinosaur fever funded no fewer than 5 bootstrapped expeditions. Explorers went waist-deep through bogs and came back waving plaster casts of donut-shaped footprints and shaky VHS footage of ripples. Biologists generally chalk the legend up to misidentified hippos, giant Nile monitors, or that Hall of Mirrors affect every dense jungle plays on the senses. No bones, no scat, no DNA. Yet fresh reports bubble even today. A 2021 Reddit post from a Congolese fisherman describes a long-necked canoe gliding under his pirogue, leaving a wake wide enough to nudge the shoreline. And if you ever find yourself paddling in those maze-like waterways and the frogs go silent all at once, remember the name that means the river stopper and paddle the other way. Now spin the compass 180 degrees to the Gobi Desert, a place so dry, even the ghosts kick up dust. Here, every nomad has a cousin who claims to have seen Olgoi-khorkhoi, the Mongolian Death Worm. Picture a crimson sausage 1 meter long, segments pulsing like an angry accordion, buried just beneath the dunes. Local lore says it surfaces during the hottest lightning storms, spits corrosive acid that melts metal, or fires an electric jolt strong enough to drop a camel where it stands. Soviet paleontologist Ivan Yefremov popularized the tale in a 1946 novella, but it was cable TV crews in the 1990s who turned it global. Armed with Polaroids and camel guides, they cruised the dunes in battered land cruisers. Unfortunately, or fortunately depending on who you ask, they found nothing but heat mirages and the occasional sun-baked snake carcass. Zoologists point out that desert soils simply lack the moisture needed for a worm that size, and that the acid spit likely comes from stories of sand-blown venomous snakes. Still, ask a herder who's lost a goat during a sand swirl, and you'll get a solemn, side-eyed warning. Never camp where the ground looks freshly churned. Olgoi-khorkhoi likes soft sand. Okay, so those last 2 were wild, but this next one, it predicted a real-life disaster. Let's shift from blistering sand to the fog-draped Ohio River Valley. November 1966, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. 2 couples drive past a decommissioned TNT factory when the headlights snatch something huge in the beam. It unfurls charcoal wings, stands 7 feet tall, and its eyes blaze crimson like bicycle reflectors. Within a week, newspapers dub it the Mothman, and the once sleepy town is filled with rooftops thumped by heavy wing beats, blood-curdling shrieks echoing across the river, and men in black suits lurking around witness houses. The panic came to a peak 13 months later, when the Silver Bridge collapsed on December 15, 1967, killing 46. Locals stitch Mothman into the tragedy's narrative, trying to say that they were warned by the Mothman. For skeptics, it's textbook mass hysteria, plus mis-ID'd barred owls or sandhill cranes, since both boast 6-foot wingspans and demon-red eyeshine when caught in a beam. But unlike some of the other legends on our list, this one didn't just wait around to be found, it moved to a new location altogether. In 2016, Chicago logged more than 50 Mothman-style reports, talking about a jet-black glider swooping between the Sears Tower and Navy Pier. Security guards snapped blurry phone pics that only deepened the riddle. Is it feathered, fleshy, mechanical? No one agrees. But remember, the next time wind howls across a lonely overpass and a huge shape darkens the street lamp, don't go on a bridge, or you might just become another victim of the Mothman. But now, let's leap back to sun-scorched Anatolia, circa 700 BC, where shepherds traded gossip of a lion-bodied, goat-spined, serpent-tailed brute that belched sheets of fire. Homer's Iliad immortalized the Chimera as an apex abomination slain only when Bellerophon, a Greek hero, dive-bombed from Pegasus and rammed a spear of molten lead down its throat. But myths, like merchants, travel. Greek traders lugged fossils from the Lycian hills, such as cave lion skulls, goat horns, and crocodilian vertebrae. And when jumbled on a stall table, it's easy to think of them as not three beasts, but one nightmare. Centuries later, Chimera has gone from fearsome monster to lab jargon. Scientists splice human stem cells into rabbit embryos, grow mouse pancreases inside rats, and label every mixed DNA organism Chimera in peer-reviewed journals. We may not get lion, goat, snake fire breathers, but genetic chimeras quietly reshape our lives. Geologists, meanwhile, suspect that the roots of this legend lie under the hill of Yanatas, Turkey, where methane vents have been burning continuously for millennia. Stand there at dusk, and the silhouette of a three-headed beast flickers across the cliff wall. Add a dash of ancient imagination, and you've got a monster that never needed to exist in flesh to haunt us in our nightmares. Others still believe in its existence. The Chimera was a huge deal in ancient Greece, and we've all heard the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And when it comes to the Chimera, there's a lot of fire involved. Maybe some parts of it are slightly embellished, but plenty of weird animals exist out there. Maybe the Chimera did exist, but just went extinct before someone could invent photographs. Either way, if you ever hear the roar of a lion, the bleating of a goat, and the slithering of a snake all at the same time, don't run because you're already a dead man walking. But now, let's move on and take a scenic detour to Lake Champlain, the glacial ribbon separating New York, Vermont, and Quebec. For centuries, the indigenous Abenaki warned travelers of Tatoskok, a serpentine beast that lived in the depths. Even French explorer Samuel de Champlain's 1609 diary mentions a serpent-like fish, thick as a barrel, and ever since then the tale stuck. The modern spotlight hit in July 1977 when Sandra Mansi, enjoying a lakeside picnic, snapped what tabloids quickly crowned America's Nessie and was given the lovable nickname Champ. The photo shows a dark neck arching from shimmering water, and it ended up in almost every weekend paper east of the Mississippi. Skeptics said it was a submerged log riding a wave, but that couldn't stop believers, who bought disposable cameras by the crate. In 2003, a Discovery Channel crew deployed hydrophones and recorded a deep, rhythmic echolocation pulse that no known species in the lake could make. Then, in 2019, environmental DNA tests scooped lake water for analysis, and what they found was plenty of sturgeon, trout, and alewife, but zero prehistoric monsters. When trying to explain this sea monster, biologists point to Champlain's resident lake sturgeon, which can top 10 feet and has dorsal ridges perfect for mimicking monster sightings. They also mention optical tricks where a line of rolling waves looks like multiple humps marching in sync. Yet each summer, new grainy phone videos reboot the buzz. Maybe it's tourist gold, or maybe an ancient survivor really is playing submarine peekaboo. But always remember, this lake was born of melting glaciers. It knows how to keep big, cold secrets. And there we have it. 5 legends, 5 different flavors of fear, and exactly 0 fossils we can all agree on. But hey, that's half the fun. Let me know down in the comments below, which of these 5 would you volunteer to track first? Smash that like button if you made it through without turning on an extra light. And hit subscribe so you don't miss my next video talking about some freaky animals.